All right, everybody, welcome back to another Tech Support Live. It's good to be back. I am Alec. If you guys are new to the show and you haven't met us, I'm an interactive media specialist here at NETGEAR, and I do design and photography for the website and social media. And with me, I have the dream team, Michael, Darren, and Ben. Michael, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the chat.
Sure. Hi, I'm Michael. I'm Technical Marketing Manager. I spend a lot of my time playing with NETGEAR hardware, doing a lot of beta testing. And when we can actually get out in the real world, I do a lot of the trade shows. So if you have any questions, looking forward to helping answer them. And
Cool.
off to Ben.
Oh, I'm going to actually throw it back to Darren because he's next.
All right. Darren, Technical Support Specialist at NETGEAR and also Community Moderator. I cover mostly all of our home products across our community and answer tech questions. Off to Ben.
Hey, I am the NPG Brand Manager. NPG stands for Nighthawk Pro Gaming. I'm here to answer all of your questions and dodge a few of your other ones.
That's how it goes here on the show. There are embargoes sometimes. We can't answer your questions. But we just had I think CES actually ended yesterday, if that's right. So we pretty much have talked about everything that we weren't able to talk about. So we should be actually able to answer all potentially legally jeopardizing questions today. So exciting times.
We should be. This is a rare moment through the year. This is probably the time that we could probably talk the most open about what we have, because we've announced a ton of stuff from CES. So
totally
get your questions in.
Yep.
Cool. So we actually already got some questions coming in, and we also have some familiar faces. So shout out to Hamad, and I believe Ryan, you've been here before as well. So welcome back.
And Kev has as well.
Who is that?
Kev?
Kev?
Yeah,
oh, Kev.
Kev.
Yes,
Yeah,
welcome
he's
back,
been
Kev. We love to have people coming back to view the show, as well as new faces. So if you're new, welcome. We like to remind everybody who's watching the show, if you don't mind dropping a like on the show, it helps us reach more people and help more people out. We want to bring as many people to the stream as possible, to give you the best possible live support that we can. So yeah, if you guys want to drop a like, we appreciate it. But getting into the questions, the first question is from Gareth here. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. And he asks, I have to set up 3 WAX 214s in my local community care center. Should I give them the same SSID and password or different in each location? Now, I'm not a business expert, so somebody jump in if I'm giving the wrong answer, but I really think that's going to depend on the preferences of the business owner. If they want to have the same network broadcast throughout the location, then you want to give it the same SSID, but perhaps they want to have an employee-only network in the back or something like that. Then you might want to set up a unique SSID on a specific access point. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Normally, when people are setting up access points in a business, they'll give it the same SSID and password, because then people don't have to think, where am I at now? What's the SSID and password for this particular area in the building? Like in NETGEAR headquarters, we have tons of access points around the building, and they all have the same SSID and password, so it doesn't matter where you are in the building. But as Alex said, if you need a special network just for the employees or for any other reason, then yeah, having a different SSID can make sense. Or if they're distinctly different locations, like 3 different buildings, then it might make more sense to have different SSIDs and passwords. But in general, if it's overlapping the same area, you use the same name on them.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's the best way to go, especially because the NETGEAR kind of handoff technology has gotten really good. So as you kind of go between 2 access points, it's going to be very seamless when you jump between the 2. So having one SSID will be very effective if that's what the customer you're working with wants. So let's see. In the chat we have Jerry. He says, "Hi all. I haven't been able to join in a while." Well, Jerry, we remember you. We love the fans, so welcome back. And we have Skill Nasty, who says he's on the XR500. That's awesome. I'm glad you have a XR500, and I hope it's serving you well. I have the same router, so
Yeah, I had that up until recently. Now I have the 1000, but
I gotta get that one. It's on sale. Shouldn't say that yet.
well, let's just say that if you went to the website, you would have a pleasant surprise at the price.
Yeah, we'll put it that way. It's
I couldn't say it's a sale. It could be a glitch that's on our website right now.
And that's on the NETGEAR store.
On the NETGEAR store.
mhm.
Yeah, and I think that glitch or bug runs until the 23rd. So tell a
There you
friend.
go.
It's a very healthy bug.
Yeah, you'd be pleasantly surprised at the our web guys had goofed up on the price. So
There you go. Exactly.
there you
And
go.
while you're at the NETGEAR store, we've put a lot of effort into making it so that it's not only a store experience, but also an educational experience. So a lot of questions that you might have about specific products, if you go onto that product page, there's a ton of information now. I think we kind of recognize that buying a router is an educational experience in addition to a browsing window shopping experience. There's so many technical aspects to the product. So definitely go online and, poke around and see what router will work best for you or what extender or modem could be fun. Speaking of the XR1000, I just got this most recent billing cycle. I got gigabit internet. So I'm on the gig speed now, which is
I
pretty
am
exciting.
jealous.
I know I got AT&T fiber. I said, bye-bye Xfinity, no more.
So have you ran a speed test on it yet?
Yes. So wirelessly, I'm getting around 600 on my phone
Nice.
and Mac. But wired, I actually haven't tested it yet. I want to test it. So I run Powerline throughout the whole downstairs in my home. But my switch here that I have at my office setup is only 100 megabytes. So it's a little bit of a
Only
bottleneck there.
come on, you work for NETGEAR, 100
I
megabit
know,
switch,
I know.
really? If
Somebody
we were in
just
the
like,
office, I'd hook you up with a much better switch.
okay, well, I'll come cash in that offer when we're back in the office.
Yes.
Okay, but we have another question here from CC who says, "Hey guys, NETGEAR hotspot. Can I switch out the SIM or is it eSIM? I believe all of them are regular SIM.
Yep.
Yeah, so including the newest M5, which has been, correct me if I'm wrong, it has been released under AT&T here in the States. I
Yep,
know
that's
that's
correct.
been really a
It's hard
hot
to get a hold
question.
of.
Yes.
It's hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Good stock.
It's almost flattering, but it's also sad to see. But a lot of them are like scalped right now. We're flattered that you think it's worth scalping, but please don't do that. But yeah, um, the M1 and M2 are also regular SIM. So if you want to go ahead and get one of those, that works as well. Although I would highly suggest the M5 because it is kind of a marriage of the two best technologies that we have right now, which is 5G and Wi-Fi 6. So that should answer your question. Another question here from Skill Nasty.
Yes.
Did you have something you want to say, Michael?
No, I was reading over that, going back, seeing he has the XR500, and this is one I'm sure Ben can probably help out with. The software benchmark, he runs it, and it shows his download speed way low, but the upload speed's right.
So that is an interesting quirk with the software. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to go into router login, and you'll want to sign in and go to the upper right. You'll see where you can check for firmware, but there's also a spot where you can put in what your speed is. If you don't put that in there, it will incorrectly calculate at your connection benchmark right now, which is a weird thing. So if you go down to advanced, and then there's 3 dots, you click on it, go down to advanced, and click on that, and then network speeds, you could enter what your speeds are there, and that should correct the error with the benchmark. I know it's a weird quirk. We're trying to fix it.
Yeah, and that's not actually affecting his download speeds. That's just an
It's not.
incorrect number. Yep.
Right, and that's why you're going to get like an incorrect. Your network speed will. You're like, why am I failing? Yep. Thank you, Ryan. Exactly. Exactly. Tell a friend.
I'm glad you found the glitch.
Yes, I'm glad.
And
But
for the XR1000, this is what you would be getting.
yes,
Well, maybe you won't because it can't see it now.
it can't.
It just keeps going in and out.
It's
It
there.
probably needs a green screen behind it. Oh, well.
We assure you it is there. It's a great product, definitely.
Yeah. So that's why you're getting like a D minus or a F or a D in your network speed is because of the fact that it's calculated off of the wrong speed. Trina, hello. Thanks for coming back.
And one other little note for Skill Nasty here. Obviously Duma OS is kind of a very, very in-depth gaming-oriented software that gives you a lot of control over your network. But if you kind of just want like a surface level, simple tool to control very normal aspects of your network, you can download the Nighthawk app. It will work with the XR500, and there is a speed test on that app as well if you want to, kind of cross-reference that. So
Yeah.
just another thing to consider. Although Doom OS is pretty solid, so you probably prefer that. All right, question here from Mao A. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Can the RBK50 be configured to run modem free, wired to a fiber box in New Zealand? I've heard that the Huawei Q2 Pro can specifically can with specific VLAN ID and DHCP enabled. So yes, I believe so, but it's hard to say with your specific setup with your internet service provider in New Zealand. I know that for myself, we do have a fiber box here at my house in San Jose with AT&T, and I was able to find a knowledge base article on the NETGEAR site that told me how to specifically set the settings on that unit to work with my XR500. It should work similarly with the Orbi router as it does with the XR500 as far as setting up those settings on the fiber box. So I hope that helps. Do you guys have anything else to add to that?
Just one thing to note is, just so there's no confusion, that fiber box is actually acting as the modem.
Yes.
Because I know the question
Yes.
asked to be configured to run modem free.
Mm-hmm.
No, the router definitely needs a modem. It's just instead of your classical modem, you've got a fiber box that's acting as the modem.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's a good point to make. It cannot run completely modem free. You would need kind of a combo unit, a router modem combo. And we do have that for the Orbi, but that's not the case for the RBK50.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it looks like we're all caught up now. Trying to see, make sure I didn't miss.
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't think so. I think we're all caught up. Cool. So usually we have Angela here to give us some filler questions. We don't today. So Ben, I'm gonna look to you. Any filler questions? Any fun topics you want to discuss?
New Year's resolutions.
New Year's resolutions. Well, you start. Ben.
Any? Yeah, I'm gonna fire up my so over the last year I've made what would be coronavirus purchases.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year my resolution is to get my streaming channel up and running on a regular schedule, because I've put enough now into getting everything ready to go. I've got a PC for streaming now. I've got $300 mics, blah 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 blah. And so yeah, my resolution is to get to start streaming on a more regular basis again.
Very cool.
Well, I used to stream a lot, and then like just being so busy with Nighthawk Pro Gaming, it kind of put that on the hold. So so now I'd like to actually just get my channel back to working order.
Sounds good.
What about you, Michael?
not really New Year's resolution, but most of it is playing with new toys. Since I've got the 3D printer, I'm starting to actually learn, more about 3D printing, starting to work with the CAD design programs to play around with things. And I, of course, had to go and put my order in for the Oculus Quest 2, which will probably be coming at the end of the month. So lots of things to keep me busy. But as far as New Year's resolutions, probably rebuilding the tower PC that I have next to me that I stripped out for parts when I was making my new system.
Sounds like there's a
Very
lot
cool.
of gaming related resolutions here, which is always exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we will come back to this question for myself and Darren because I'm sure we both have some pretty cool resolutions. However, we have some questions that came in. So let's answer those. First one is from Ryan, who says, how often should you reset your router and or internet equipment? And this kind of, the answer varies here. I don't know if there's a rule of thumb. Do any of you guys have any suggestions for him?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I like to do it every couple of weeks just to keep things running up good. But I mean, yeah, it varies. It just depends. Sometimes you could let it run for a year and nothing goes wrong. Other times you got to restart it quite often. But I like to do it every once in a while just because I've been in the cable industry for a long time and like to keep stuff reset and up to date.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I reset things once every no longer than 2 weeks, but no shorter than a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say weekly for me personally.
Yeah. I reset the router more than I reset the modem. Probably the modem every 2 weeks, router about once a week. Not because that I need to, but because I just want to just make sure that I actually power it down, power it up. So I do hard, because like everything. I mean, it's running 24/7, so it's gotta take a break.
Yeah.
You
Well,
run that equipment 24/7.
and pretty much every
down.
piece of hardware usually ends up with sort of minor memory leaks where it goes and it grabs a piece of memory to do something, then it's supposed to release it. And sometimes it doesn't release it or it doesn't release all of it. And that can stack up over time. And when you do the reset on those devices, it basically clears all that out and you're starting fresh. I know on my home system here, though, I'm probably the laziest of all of us. I don't reset the thing unless I have to. Usually that ends up once a month, once every 2 months, because I know if something does go wrong, I can fix it right away. Though in the wintertime around here, I sort of have forced resets, and it's called power outages. And since we have multiple power outages during the winter, it's guaranteed that there's going to be a reset no matter what.
Well, yeah, you really can't avoid that, can you? You just got to
Nope.
reset it and deal with it.
Yep.
But I mean, I guess it's kind of a blessing and a curse because, it is good to have resets occasionally. So, but yeah, speaking of kind of the cadence at which you reset your modem and your router, I almost never reset my modem. It's almost exclusively my router
Oh, yeah.
that I'm resetting. I usually just let the modem sit there, and now I have, sadly, my ISP forces me to use their modem, so I'm no longer using my beautiful CM1200. I haven't reset that one yet at all. And I rarely reset my CM1200. So, yeah, Ryan, if you do it maybe once every 2-3 weeks, you should be fine.
Yep. Unless, of course, you're finding that you're having problems. If you're finding that you're having to reset your router once a week or once every few days, then you have to start worrying about, is there a problem going on? Because normally you shouldn't be forced to reboot that often.
Okay, this is going to be a complex question to answer here, and I think there's multiple approaches. It sounds like Michael already knows what question I'm going to address here. It's from S. O'Brien, who says, hello, I have an RX 200, which I just purchased, and I have the ability to return it. Should I return it and get the RX E500 in February? Will I get a benefit running my devices on the 6E side of the 500, such as the PS5 and Apple TV? I would like to future-proof myself even more if I can. So this is a complex question, and I would say it comes down to your personal inclination. You say you want to future proof it? Technically, you are future proofing it if you do get the RX E500. That being said, I don't want you to expect a huge difference. Like it's not going to be night and day between the RX 200 and the RX 500. Yes, it is the newer technology. and yes, you will be future proofing more so. But it's not as big of a difference as Wi-Fi 5 to Wi-Fi 6, so to speak. That's my take on it. Curious to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, actually, you pretty much nailed it. And I think the key thing there is future proofing, because Wi-Fi 6E, all they're doing is opening up the 6 gigahertz band.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have any devices that use the 6 gigahertz band, then that band is just going to sit there doing nothing until you start getting 6E devices. So I'd look at it as, how often do you replace your wireless devices? And that kind of gives you an idea of how quickly you need to move over to 6E. If you don't replace your devices until they die, then it doesn't make a lot of sense, because you won't be having any 6E devices for a long time. But if you want to future-proof, yeah, going over to the 6E now, and then that means you don't have to think about the next technology for years, probably 2-3 years or more.
And it also looks like it's shipping in March, not February.
Yep.
From our website.
So if you do have like a good backup router to use in the interim between you're returning the 200 and you're getting the 500, could be worth it. I mean, if you have like, I don't know, an Orbi or something, that could be great to get you through the meantime. But if you're going to be going back to the Stone Age in the meantime, might not be worth it. Okay. Gareth asks, this is back to the WAX 214 question. If I use the same SSID at the community center, will a user moving around the building automatically switch to the strongest signal access point? The answer is yes. That's the handoff, I think that's what we call it. And it will automatically hand off the user to the strongest signal. And it should be pretty seamless.
It does mean, though, that if you have a very strong signal on your device and you're getting closer to another access point, it won't automatically switch you over. There is a sort of a threshold that it decides, is the signal too weak and should I, release and renew? And when it releases and renews, it's renewing on the closest access point that has the higher signal.
Yeah. Good distinction to make there. Cool. So the next question here is from Matt, Max. Mm-hmm. And Max asks, how do I set up my NETGEAR Wi-Fi extender? So I think the easiest way to do it is through WPS, which is Wi-Fi Protected Services. Is that right?
I think security.
Security.
I'll have to check it, but yes, using WPS, that is the way to go. As long as your router has a WPS button on it, then it couldn't get any simpler. Mm-hmm. You push the WPS button on the router, you push the WPS button on the extender, their lights will flash. After they've done their handshake and connected back up and everything goes solid green, then you're ready to go.
I had Christian, he's going to link a KB on the best ways to set up an extender for Max, so he can walk through that.
Excellent.
Cool. Yeah, those knowledge-based articles are super helpful. Okay. Cool. So next question is from Places and Spaces 35, and they ask, the Orbi AX6000, what is the best way to deal with buffer bloat? This person has 1,000 down and 30 up, and it appears the issue is on the upload portion of the buffer bloat test. Even though I've worked on MPG a lot, I'm not super familiar with what buffer bloat is. So I would default to one of you guys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, on the AX6000, I don't know if I've actually used that or not.
I think it's the 750 series, right?
Here. RBK52, CM1200s. Yep. Yeah, the Orbi AX6000. No, I have not used that feature enough to be able to answer that, surprisingly.
I haven't used that feature on there, but the buffer bloat is usually to relieve congestion when all channels are, when everything is trying to grab at the internet at the same time. Buffer bloat reserves a little bit of the bandwidth in order to, when it's bloated, it's buffering the bloat is where it comes from. And so it will allow you to have connection through by reserving a little bit of bandwidth. So in those situations, it's basically saying that you're going to use X amount of your bandwidth. So it's complicated to explain. So if you set it to 80%, you're running 80% of your bandwidth at all times, and 20% are reserved for when everything goes and hits the fan at the same time. And that's how it allows you to have uninterrupted connection, because it is waiting to make sure that in situations where everything is going at once, that there's still space.
Also, one question would be, what modem are you using along with that? Because there was some comments on our community site where someone was using the AX6000 with the CM1200, and the actual problem with the buffer bloat was a problem with the CM1200, not the AX6000. And you needed to actually turn lag off on the CM1200. So that you also might want to double check to make sure that it isn't the modem that's actually causing the problem and not the AX6000.
Gotcha. So hopefully that helps out. It sounds like it might be a bit of a complex issue. So if you do need to reach out to us and talk to us more in depth off the show, there should be an email in the chat. I'm sorry, in the description. Or if somebody wants to drop the email in the chat that they can reach out to, let us know. But try to follow along with the suggestions we made. They should help you. But if not, let us know. Cool. So our next question is from Skill Nasty, who's the XR500 owner, and they ask one more question on the QoS slider. What is a good percentage for gaming? This is going to be kind of a variable answer. It depends on what devices are on your network. If you have like 2 devices on your network, you might not even need to use the QoS slider. You're not competing with that much. But if you have a bunch, then you're gonna want to dedicate more. Ben, do you want to kind of give more details on that?
Yeah. So on the slider, I tend to go with a balanced approach, but whatever like type of traffic or device on the older Duma OS. So if my main gaming thing is my PC, I'm going to pull a little bit more for prioritizing that in the QoS. So let's say that every device has about 12.5. Or let's just make it easier. We got 10 devices. They all pull 10%, right? So I am going to pull double for whatever gaming device that I have. So if it's my PC, I'm going to put it at 20%, just to make sure that it's well ahead of the pack. And that even goes for like in Duma 3.0, where it's like genre. I'm going to pull more for gaming than just regular surfing. I'd safe to say that, you know, I try to keep to 1.5 to 2.0%, you know, either 1.5 or 2 times for whatever I am actually prioritizing. If that is a general good rule of thumb. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, actually, I think that those numbers are probably, you know, a good starting point. And then just, you know, test it and see how it's working out.
Totally. Oops. Apologize for the Outlook noise that you all just heard. Let me quit that out for a second. Okay, cool. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, it's really going to be some trial and error. And you can also use the I forgot the name, the benchmarking features to see what serves you best.
Benchmark connection.
Yeah. Just to kind of, as you're tinkering, just to get some data on
and run that test a few times as you
yes, because you won't always get exactly the same number.
Right, because situations are going to change.
Totally.
But it gives you a good idea of if you make some adjustments, you can then take a look and see what the how that affects when you're on full load. So just keep that in mind.
Cool. Okay. Question here from Elias. How do I bridge my Nighthawk Mesh 6 to my existing R7500 Nighthawk router? So this is kind of similar to the question we answered earlier about how to set up an extender. We suggest WPS. It's really easy. You basically just hit 2 sync buttons and they'll pair. And then everything should be all set from there.
Yeah, if you can sync an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, you can sync your,
yes.
your network.
Well,
Totally.
I don't think you can sync a router to another router like that.
No, you can't
Yeah.
sync the router, but you can sync extenders and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think what he's asking is, can he like put his router into the mesh system to use as another network?
If that's the question, then the answer would be no, because it actually isn't a mesh device. If you have like one of our Nighthawk or NETGEAR Nighthawk mesh whole systems, you would actually be replacing your router with the router that comes with that. If you're just using our Nighthawk mesh extender, then yeah, the WPS buttons, you'd be hitting both of those to actually connect the extender up to it.
Yeah.
But you could connect it via Ethernet and make it its own network as an AP off of the mesh network, but it would have its own SSID and network.
Yes.
Cool. So hopefully we were able to address your question, but if we got it wrong, just clarify with us what you meant and we'll help you out. Okay, this next question is a 3-parter and it looks a little complex. So we'll see how we can answer it. But the question is from Robert and he asks, I'm starting to have some issues here with my AX11000 router and my EX8000 extender. My phone doesn't like changing from one to another and my devices don't either. It's not pairing well. Obviously, one is Wi-Fi 6 and the other isn't, but the issue is more that the non-Wi-Fi 6 bands are overlapping the Wi-Fi 6 bands and my devices don't know one from another. What I mean to say is that when I am in the settings of my Alexa devices, they only see one band and not 2 bands, one being closer to the router, but Wi-Fi 6. Can't tell if it's connecting to the extender. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, how do I solve this is probably what he's wondering. And truthfully, I don't know the answer to that, so I'll look to you guys for some help on that one.
Well, probably my first suggestion is if he isn't actually using Wi-Fi 6 devices, then go and turn off the Wi-Fi 6 on the AX1100, because some people have had some issues with Wi-Fi 6 with certain devices, and if you're not even using it, turn that off, and then that should clear up most of the problems that you're seeing, especially if it's happening to more than just the phone, but it's happening to a lot of your other devices as well. Also, when you say not pairing well, is it that they're having problems seeing the signal, or is it just they're not seeing a signal that they can use? As you mentioned, you're saying that your Alexa devices are seeing the Wi-Fi 6 band, but they're not seeing the bands that they can actually connect to. So turn off the Wi-Fi 6 in the router, then see if they can actually see the bands that they need, and that may fix your problem.
Yeah, I got the sense, and I might be wrong here, that the Alexa weren't seeing the Wi-Fi 6 bands. Is that? Can only see one band, not 2 bands.
One being closer to the router, but Wi-Fi 6, not C2 band. One being closer to the router, but Wi-Fi 6. Yep.
Okay. I thought maybe the
Wi-Fi 6.
Alexa device just wasn't a Wi-Fi 6 device. So okay.
Which it definitely isn't. As far as I know, there aren't any.
And it may be a 2.4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know that like Amazon stuff, like the Kindles and stuff like that are have a hard time with 5. So I had to split out my 2.4 to accommodate.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, hopefully that information helps you. Please follow up if you want some more commentary on that, or we can chat offline via email. So let us know.
At NETGEAR team at netgear.com.
Yes, that's it. That's the email. I always forget. Thank you. Cool. Okay. Hamad says, discuss the new gear released at CES. Well, there's a lot to talk about there. Let me open the NETGEAR CES site, and we can see exactly what we released. Boom, here we go. Okay, I actually don't have the screen set up to share my browser, so I'm just going to scroll through it and kind of talk about it myself. Let's see here. Okay, so we won several awards, which is pretty exciting. And for the first time, I believe this is the first time we won an award for our software, which was the Smart Parental Controls. I've talked with several customers at, surprisingly enough, at PAX East, which is a gaming convention, and they were talking about how fundamental Smart Parental Control has become to their network and kind of having a bit of control over their kids' usage. So great tool. Another one that we run an award on is the RXE 500. And Michael, I'm sure you got to play with that a lot more than
No,
I did.
I have not actually seen one.
Oh, really? That's a
Yeah,
first.
normally I get those beta samples shipped out, but things have slowed down a little bit, and I think they're getting a little backlogged and getting stuff out to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's our first Wi-Fi 6E device, which is the new protocol. So it is exciting that we're joining the Wi-Fi 6E revolution. Pretty exciting there. And I believe we won an award on the XR 1000.
We did,
which is really exciting.
so,
It's
which
our
is
first.
really exciting. First award for a gaming router. I think that the 1000 is sort of the culmination of all of our efforts for Nighthawk Pro Gaming. It's just a slick machine, and it really deserves that win. Yeah, we have so many things that come out this year. It's really hard to kind of narrow down. But we're going to kind of continue with what we've been doing. Bringing premium Wi-Fi networking products. We're going to continue to hit hard with our Pro AV equipment on the business side of things. And we've got products, lifestyle products like Mural and Nighthawk Pro Gaming. So we've one thing we forgot to mention is we've been around for 25 years as of this year. Yep. And you don't build a reputation like we have by just declaring it. We've really kind of made sure to kind of follow through that we make really solid equipment, and that goes all the way back. Some of our switches, and you guys know this, some of you are still using our switches from 10 12 years back, let alone some of the original switches are still working out there in the wild. So that's something that we're proud of, something that you can be proud of, and we're continue to make like high quality NETGEAR. It's in our name. So okay, yep. I'm going to step down from the soapbox.
Well, and just to put a date on that, it was the 9th of this month where it hit the 25 year.
It was.
Yep.
So we're not even 25 years and a week old yet.
Right.
Yeah, still 6 days,
I
think. Right.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah.
Maddie, it's already there. It's in a beta. It's almost in a beta final state. Where is the? Let me find that forum.
It's on your website.
Yeah, it's on the website.
It's NETGEAR something innovation.
Yes, NETGEAR.
Cool. So we'll send over that link. In the meantime, we've got eTempt, who asks, any tips on stopping packet loss with the NETGEAR Wi-Fi range extender? Also, I have an Ethernet cable running from it to my PS4. This is kind of a tricky one to answer. It's gaming related, so Ben, if you want to jump in, please.
Yeah, hold on. Let me drop. I'm going to drop this into the chat to get dropped into the other chat. Just netgearinnovation.com/doomos/-beta. That will get you to the the beta for the 500, and there's also a beta for the 700 as well. So it is out there. Oh, there you go. Okay, so any tips on stopping packet loss with NETGEAR Wi-Fi extender? I also have an Ethernet cable running it to my PS4. You're getting packet loss from the Wi-Fi, and are you running Wi-Fi to the PS4 and Ether?
No, I think he's got an Ethernet cable from the PS4 to the extender, then Wi-Fi from the extender to the router.
And getting packet loss from the extender.
Yeah, and there's really only two things, that you can, look at there. One of them is make sure that you've got a good quality Ethernet cable, so that's not causing any sort of packet loss. And then the other is just Wi-Fi interference. Possibly try changing channels on your router to a less used channel. And there's a lot of Wi-Fi analyzers that you can run off of your phone that'll let you know which channels are being used less. But those are the two areas in that particular configuration which would most likely be causing a packet loss.
Yeah, and I would also say make sure that you're on the latest firmware for both the extender and the router. So in case there's any sort of fixes that needed to be done that would address things like packet loss, those would be in that firmware. So just to make sure you're running the tightest, newest, and then always check those cables. So it's the first thing that goes and last thing that you check, believe me. I think I think that's the best configuration for your PS4. Certainly plugging it into an extender and having the extender use the Wi-Fi is way better than using the PS4's Wi-Fi. So kudos.
Cool. Yeah, so a couple things to try out. So give it a shot. Let us know what happens. Feel free to tune in next week, and we'll be here to follow up. We are running down to the last 15 minutes of the show, so fourth quarter, here we are.
Fourth quarter. Before we answer any questions, New Year's resolutions, you two, so that way we can.
Oh yes.
All the way.
Do you want to go first, Aaron?
Sure. I think I'm going to work more on my arcade machine. I've kind of neglected it for a while. I need to update it, get the interface right, do tons of updates. I run big box on an old gaming PC to make an arcade unit. I have a tank stick for 2-player controls.
Cool.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Well, you guys all gave gaming related ones, so I'll give one gaming related one. I have been really, really playing a lot of Smash Bros. So I'm trying to get.
Are you going pro again?
I'm trying to go pro. No, not actually, but I would love to do some like local tournaments once we can regroup. Yeah, gonna get better at that. I mean Isabel from Animal Crossing, so she's pretty vicious. And then my roommates have like a home gym, and I've always just kind of looked at it, so I've been joining them out there. So I'm constantly sore now because I've never really been consistent. Yeah, it's always been like I'll dip my toes a little bit, but yeah. So this is the first time I'm like committing to it, and I'm sore. Nice. My arm is very sore, specifically right here is really sore.
But that's not your mouse hand, so you're okay.
Yeah. It's like my rest on my chair hand. So thankfully, not too important.
So we got a quick question on the 500. Mm-hmm. The 500 Ether ports suddenly turn off and immediately turn back on every few weeks or so. It's not a specific device because the laptop and the PS4 turn off at the same time. So laptop, I'm assuming that you're not connected by Ether. That sounds like an overheat issue. You know, really does. Just make sure that thing's getting plenty of air, and also reset your router like every 14 days. That'll help as well. But yeah, I definitely think that it's that sounds like an overheat where everything all of a sudden shuts off. Just make sure that those. I mean, it sucks. It doesn't look like it, but it needs plenty of air around it. So because it's doing a lot of thinking.
And Hamad had a quick question. I remember him asking this last time, and we didn't get a chance to answer it. Do we think that 5G will demolish Wi-Fi eventually? And my take on it is no, because 5G is basically taking the place of that wired internet connection that you have going out to the internet, while Wi-Fi is designed for within the home, to be able to transfer things back and forth. So it's pretty much apples and oranges there. 5G isn't meant to be used inside the home talking between devices. So no, I don't think it'll ever demolish it. We'll just have two paths for outside and inside, and each one's just going to keep getting faster and better.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's, you hit the nail on the head there. It's two different technologies, really. Also, 5G is a lot more expensive than Wi-Fi, so.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
and they charge by the megabyte.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I wanted to mention earlier, one of the main reasons I switched to AT&T is because I got a 1.2 terabyte cap on my Xfinity, and I was
Yep.
not having that. I absolutely not. You know, I got a 4K TV. I'm watching 4K. Like, I'm not gonna waste it on 180p. So I had to switch over.
I have to say that I finally, after running out of my complimentary overruns with Xfinity, I bit the bullet and I'm paying for unlimited. I hope net
Ouch.
neutrality comes back because that's an extra $40 a month just so I can watch things in 4K on my 4K TV.
Yeah, it's like, why would you buy a 4K TV and then watch stuff in 1080p?
Yeah.
Then I would just buy a 1080p TV. So it's like, you gotta watch it in 4K.
I mean, hopefully it's on Biden's checklist to get rid of the data caps.
Yeah,
That would be good.
That would be really nice. I would love to get rid of data caps.
yeah,
It'd be fantastic.
yeah. Those sort of utilities like internet and power and stuff, you're just kind of pigeonholed into a bad situation where you have to pick from the lesser of certain evils.
Here's an interesting question from Robert. It's do you think IPv6 could help with 40 connected devices?
Not really, because that's mainly designed for connecting to sites outside your local network. And so I don't really think that 40 devices internally is going to stress the IPv4 scheme. So I don't think that you're going to see much of a difference either way. That really, the main reason why IPv6 came out is they were running out of external IP addresses. And so they had to come up with a new scheme that would, drastically multiply that. But internally in your own home, it's not going to make any difference on the connected devices.
Cool. Okay, I want to make sure we don't miss some other questions because we did skip over a couple here. So the first one is from Blending with Henry, who is a return viewer with the Vitamix channel. So welcome back. And he says, I'm late chiming in. Sorry if this has been brought up. Sorry if this has been brought up. But is the RAX Z500 essentially the RAX 200 with 6E? Does it have all new firmware? It's more or less the RAX 200 with 6E. I don't know if there's any hardware differences aside from the 6 gigahertz band. Michael, is that the case?
Yeah, as far as I know, that's the main difference is that they've added probably changed a chip in there that adds the 6E bands to it. As far as all new firmware, it's going to be a modified firmware. Most of Netgear's firmwares always take pieces from previous firmwares because there's no reason to keep reinventing the wheel all the time. And so they will have taken the software from the 200 or the firmware from the 200. They'll have made what modifications they need to it, added any additional features that they need to, but a lot of the base code's going to be the same.
Yeah, so that should help you out. If you're looking to upgrade and you don't already have the 200, I'd say wait for the 500 if you haven't upgraded yet. Okay. We have a question here from Places in Spaces 35, and this is one that I'm almost certain only Michael will know the answer to. This might be part 2 of stumping Michael. We've only had one stump so far. Let's see if we can get this one.
Well, nope. This one I can definitely say,
Okay.
since I don't work at that level in the engineering side, so I don't know what code they're actually using in the products for queue management. In fact, I don't think I've ever even seen it mentioned in any of the articles that I've been reading.
So yeah, we don't know the answer to that one.
Nope,
That's a
nope,
very, very deep question.
that's deep in
Maybe,
a completely different department.
yeah, maybe one day we'll have like a networking engineer come on the show and we can have like a deep dive for all the technical people in the chat. Okay, a question from Chris here. When will NETGEAR fix the issue of the Orbi RBR 750 connection with Nest thermostats, resulting in increased battery draining? Long string on NETGEAR community forum on this. I'm
We
not.
actually talked about this last week, and the Nest thermostats, the battery in there should only be to basically keep the clock running, and it shouldn't actually be the power to the thermostat itself. That actually should be wired in. So I don't see any reason why the battery would be draining, because the thermostat, most of its power should be coming from a wired connection. And I don't think the battery that's in there is what's controlling the Wi-Fi between the thermostat and the RBR 750. If it is, then it's a bad design, because you should never use that battery for anything except for just keeping the main device running. I haven't looked into it anymore since last week to find out if there was additional information. I'd also go over to the Nest community forums and see if there's any other comments there, because they could easily be having the same problem with other devices, in which case it would be on the Nest side. I'm not sure, but that's the best place to look to start with, because it shouldn't be draining the battery. That battery should have nothing to do with the Wi-Fi. Otherwise, of course, you'd be draining the battery quickly, because you're constantly pinging back and forth to your router.
Yeah, and I wouldn't know why that particular unit would drain battery, like the RBR 750. There would be no reason for it to drain battery faster than any other router. If anything, a Wi-Fi 6 device is actually going to be saving you battery. Granted, I don't think the client device being your Nest, I don't think that is Wi-Fi 6, so you wouldn't see that benefit necessarily. But yeah, I mean, it's using the same bands, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So I can't imagine why there'd be any reason why that specifically would drain battery faster than any other router. So,
and it shouldn't be using the battery to do its Wi-Fi connection and pinging anyway.
mm-hmm,
That wouldn't make any sense.
mm-hmm,
And that's the only place that I could see where any client device, its battery could go down faster, is if it's constantly having to ping the router. For some reason, it's losing its connection constantly and having to re-up the connection. But it shouldn't be using the battery on the Nest for that. So I can't think of any reason why the battery itself would be draining.
mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So that should answer your question. But yeah, let us know if there's any further things we should be investigating there. Okay.
And then Osman coming in late would actually like to discuss this a little bit more further. You should be running Wi-Fi 6 with that PS5 than just the regular 5 gigahertz. But you're saying that you're having issues with 5 gigahertz with the PlayStation 5. That's interesting. But 2.4, everything's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if 2.4 will broadcast further than 5, granted it will be slower. So your router might just be way too far from your device. And it's the 5 gigahertz just isn't reaching the PS5 with a quality connection. In which case I would suggest an extender or a power line adapter.
Yeah, because something's not getting that signal, but
Yeah,
to where you are.
yeah. So
Yeah, 5 tends to hit 2.4. That tells me that you've got some sort of if 2.4 is fine and 5 is having problems, so that means that there's some sort of environmental interference that's taking place.
totally. Okay, cool. So let's go back and answer some questions we missed here. We have a follow-up from Robert, who was having the issue with the Wi-Fi 6 router and the Wi-Fi 5 extender. And he says, I think I found where to turn off Wi-Fi 6. Unchecks the box that says enable AX. This mode will enable AX features such as OFDMA. Will losing OFDMA make a difference for me? I think that's kind of the substance of the question is, will losing OFDMA make a difference?
He's probably not going to notice a difference on it. It does help with the 5 gigahertz bands and how they're being handled. But normally, you're probably not going to see a difference. And you definitely do want to turn that off if you're having problems with older 2.4 gigahertz devices. And that is the setting that you do want to turn off the AX.
Mm-hmm.
And chances are, once you turn that off, then the problems that you're seeing will go away.
Totally. Cool. So yeah, give that a shot. It should help out a lot. But yeah, if not, we did provide that email for you, so feel free to reach out via email if there's still ongoing issues. Hamad says, if you have a fiber connection, what is the best connection type? Well, he says typology, but I think he just means type on the Wi-Fi network.
The only answer I have there is fast.
Yeah, I'd say fast.
Yeah, if you have a fiber connection, your topology inside your home doesn't really matter. It has more to do with just the fiber connection probably means you've got gig speeds, which means you want to make sure that the hardware that you have in your home can support those gig speeds wirelessly as well. That way you get, the fastest throughput from the wireless device to your router and then through your fiber connection out. A particular topology doesn't matter that much, except in general in any home. If you can place your router in the center of the home, that's the best topology you can have, because then it'll have the best whole home coverage. If you start moving to things like mesh systems, then the topology gets a little bit more intricate, because you have to figure out where your router is and then start placing your satellites in the best location in your home. But if you just have a router in the center of the home is the best location if possible.
Gotcha. Cool. So that should answer the question. All right, we're down to the last 15 seconds here, but we're going to answer the last questions in the chat just to knock them out for you. So there's 2 left. First one is from Maddie, who says, is there an option to change your DHCP lease time with the XR500? I think that'd be a Ben question.
That I do not know. Is there an opinion to change, an option to change the lease time? There should be in the OS. I think it'd be under advanced settings, but I'd have to look.
Yeah, and I just popped something up, and it says the DHCP lease change if you go into settings, monitoring, and connection status.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. So give that a shot. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish, but whatever you're doing, I hope you're successful.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to go probably more in depth, and we're at the end of the hour. Unfortunately, bring your question back next week, Maddie. Sorry that we couldn't finish it up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, last question. Hopefully it's a quick one. What is the technical code for Wi-Fi 6E?
Not sure what the question is.
The technical code.
Is it like AX?
AXE, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's just an extension of the AX protocol.
Cool.
Yep.
So yeah, AXE.
Yep. And for Chris, on your Nest thermostat, if you send an email to NETGEAR team at netgear.com and put hashtag stay connected in there, then we can look into that a little bit more and possibly have our engineers, try some Nest thermostats and see if they can duplicate the issue.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to look into, because we can't think of a reason why it would do that. So kind of an interesting dilemma to bring up, but yeah, we'll maybe look into it. Cool, but that's the end of the hour, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great hour. We're glad we're able to interact with you all and hopefully answer some questions. We hope it was helpful. If it was, please drop a thumbs up. And that's all I've got to say. Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
No, just thanks everybody for showing up. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, we answered your questions. I'm hoping that we can do it in the future.
And for those of you that are in the U.S. and have Martin Luther King Day off, enjoy your 3-day weekend.
Yeah, There you go. Looking forward to it myself. Cool. Well, that should end the stream. Yeah, as always, take care, stay safe, and we'll be back here next Friday.
All right. See everyone later.
See you.
Bye, everyone.
See it.